Good day, people. Shadowito, One Angry Pagan here. Now, I wasn't planning on doing anything today because I've not been well, but this makes a really interesting point. I've just been watching. I don't know if anyone else watches these guys. It's TLDR. Too late, didn't read. And it's their podcasts channel, and I can't remember his last name, but Zach, one of the guys on here, makes a really, really good point, and it is something that I've been thinking for a while.
It's about the farmers' protests in Europe, and obviously these aren't like underreported per se, insofar as
By the way, please like, subscribe. Once again, you hear it, not see it. I've got the software at the moment to show the picture, doing my editing, but deal with what I've got.
Seen quite a lot of headlines, especially in like the European press, about these farmer protests. They really sort of began in, let's say, Germany last month. I mean, there was some previous farmer protests, obviously, in the Netherlands and then France last year, but the most recent spate sort of started in Germany, spread to France, and then more recently, I think they reached Brussels. There was a whole thing outside the European Parliament building. I think it's interesting for a couple of reasons. I think one of the things that I think is most interesting about this is the misframing of it, or at least to my mind, the misframing of it.
This is the point I wanted to highlight here.
But it's often framed, and especially in sort of like right-wing discourse, as like the people, the farmers, against like this sort of out of touch, soppy liberal elites, and how the politics of the energy transition have been framed in those terms, like how proponents of green policies have come to be seen as sort of like out of touch, sort of elitists, is just quite an amazing like shift, because obviously the people most affected by, let's just say, the failure to make the green transition, the people most affected by climate change are the world's poorest. The elites
He sounds really leftist here.
are going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like the World Economic Forum types. I mean, that's obviously a sort of conspiracy of its own, but they're going to be fine. Like, you've got the money, you will be fine. And it's people like farmers and just sort of your bog standard European citizens who will be worst affected.
Exactly. I think his name's Zach Michaelis, but I might be wrong here. Anyway, that's the point I wanted to zero in on. I've had people say to me that this green movement is it's elitist. No, it fucking isn't. For a start, it was raised in the first place by grassroots organizations. Like once big tech giants started to realize that the green energy movement was going to be the way forwards, they feel like they got a bit of a win there, but they're not moving fast enough. Now, this bullshit I keep hearing about farmers protesting about green policies. Now, I'm sorry, but it is the poor people who are gonna suffer more as climate change keeps making an outsized effect. And I cannot quite believe that the right wing have managed to shift the conversation to, oh, no. Don't be interested in green policy. No. Don't be interested in green policy. That's liberal elites. That's they're not for the people. What? the point of the green transition is that it's supposed to be for all of us. And I'm worried that the left is missing this. The left, I think, has really, or is, I think the left is missing the ball on this. Or if it's hitting the ball, it boots it over the stands. Like, I've been unnerved for a while about this trend, and I really think it needs to be called out on more. I'm really glad that Zach here has brought this up. The problem is that, you know, how wide is this going to get? I would like, if you watch this, I would like you to raise this, and I'd like you to at least think about this. The Greens Act transition is for all of us, not the liberal elites. And in actual fact, it's the Conservatives that are largely elites. Whether that's America, Europe, or Britain. United Kingdom. Fine. But it's the Conservative types quite often that are the elites. And they're the ones that are trying to convince us that the liberals are the elites. Now, don't get me wrong, there are liberal elites. But if you actually take a realistic look at it, like, more often than not, it's the Conservative types that are elites. That are the actual elites. And I think it's pretty insulting to all the work put in by grassroots organisations who helped to push the green transition in the first place, for right-wingers to hijack the conversation. And what's worse is it seems like the left is letting them do it. This is a problem. It's one of the reasons why Boris's old constituency, the Tories just managed to win last year, because the right wing have managed to bring about negative conversation. Have somehow managed to hijack the green transition. Now, I'm pretty sure we knew they would. So it seems amazing that nothing's been done about it. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I get this is going on, this is a European thing. But I think this, and here it's to do with farmers, but I think that the point that Zach brings up here is a wider point that is really important.
But the fact that somehow that sort of natural framing has been reversed, I think, is a bit of, it's in part just a symptom of quite opportunistic politics. But it's also because I just don't think that, like, the left has made the argument well enough that actually the green transition, specifically the issues that farmers are having, isn't really to do with, like, out of touch cultural elites. It's mainly a consequence of, like, decades of let's just like, lack of a better term, like neoliberal policies that have opened up European and developed countries' farming practices to basically very, very difficult competition from places like South America, from places like Africa.
I couldn't have put it better myself. Actually, couldn't have put it better. That really, he comes across sometimes as if he's a Tory supporter. It's really strange. But here, he properly sounds like a leftist. He's making a left argument here. And it's one that I'm very disheartened to say that I don't hear as often as I'd like to hear it. It's really disappointing.
That's what the Mercosur free trade agreement is all about. That's just sort of been scrapped by Macron recently. And the other thing is that the solution, I mean, the green transition, one of the reasons it's so unpalatable is just because what's actually happening here is the sort of burden of the green transition. It just is very expensive. The burden is falling on farmers and people, but the people you should be directing your anger at then are not the sort of like out of touch cultural elites. You should be directing your anger at rich people then, because
he's making a socialist argument here. Like, seriously. Rich people should be paying for this shit. The argument coming from the farmers should be that why are you not taking more from the rich to pay for the green transition? I cannot believe that I haven't seen anyone else talking about this. Like, seriously. I feel a bit aggrieved that no one else on the left has really been talking about this. Not Walsh. I haven't been seeing it. I haven't seen Reagan do it. I might be wrong. I might have just missed the video, but I haven't seen Reagan talk about this. I haven't seen Graham or Phil talk about this on Labour Social. Okay, the point of getting the rich to pay, but like the miss, as Zach says here, the misframing of the conversation, the hijacking of the conversation here. This needs to be this needs to be spoken about more. The left needs to take back the conversation from the right when it comes to the green transition, because the right are hijacking it, and they're getting some results, and that's not good. This is One Angry Pagan. Shadow Eater. I hope the audio on this wasn't too bad. Been trying to clear up the speakers and whatnot. I hope I had the volume for that loud enough. Hopefully, I should be able to get hold of some software soon so I can start showing these clips. But yeah, please just remember that the green transition, it still needs to be fought for. Bless the Thursday, people. God bless you, and please look after yourselves. Bye bye.